Yep, here we are. Decapolis. Jesus visited this area. Man, I love it. Anywhere Jesus visits, he changes and he touches and he gives life to him. Of course, he visited his own hometown. He didn't get to change him very much, but people who did receive him, it seems like Decapolis did. So here's an area that we're going to study just a touch. Decapolis is basically 10 villages or 10 towns, 10 cities. Polis means cities, Deca means 10. And so Jesus actually entered this area. He came from Tyre and Sidon, if you remember in our last stories, where he literally changed the life of a daughter and changed the life of a mother who sought help from Jesus for her daughter. So this is really cool. What excites me about Jesus, and I think too fast sometimes and I can't get my words straight. Everything about Jesus is exciting. I mean it. I'm not trying to act or entertain or pretend or anything. I am telling you right now that everything about Jesus Christ is phenomenal because he's God. He's also Son of God in relation to the Father. They're both divine. This Jesus blows my mind. And I think what happens sometimes is you can read the stories in the Bible and you just kind of skim across. You don't really think about what it was like, really what it was like what that woman felt, with that Syrophoenician woman when her daughter was totally delivered, or what the disciples felt when Jesus was rebuking the Pharisees for the washing hands and everything that we went over. I think it's important for you and I, as we read the scriptures, let me get the Bible, as you read these wonderful stories here, that you take time to really let it seep into you and you start thinking about what was it like, really, to see Jesus, to watch him heal people right in front of them. Lame people were walking, blind people were seeing, deaf people were hearing. By the way, this is the next story right here. This is the 5th time in the book of Matthew that Matthew mentions, this is chapter 15, it's 28 chapters completely. 5th time, of course later he doesn't really mention this, we're wrapping up pretty soon on this. But this is the 5th time that it says when Jesus went about healing all that were oppressed and, delivering people. 5th time that multitudes, masses of people, remember multitude could be like 5,000 men and many, many women. That's what it says, a multitude of men. So, thousands of people maybe. Sometimes it was hundreds maybe. Like that one at the door, remember Matthew 8, where Jesus at the evening, they brought him to sick and all that around that area, Capernaum. And here's healing mass people. Maybe that was hundreds, maybe 1,000. I don't know. Even if it was 20, about 10. One blind person. And that's the point. Each of these little characters, people we don't even know, no named characters in the Bible, received healing. And it changed their lives. Some were maybe a virus, a sickness. I've been healed by Jesus. And I'll never forget the times I was literally healed by the hand of Jesus Christ. See, he didn't just do it then. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And he heals today. I've been healed. Now, I have literal stories where I was. I remember what it was like. I remember all of it. Imagine story after 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 story of people just being delivered by Jesus. Everywhere he went, except for Nazareth. Everywhere, because it was under their unbelief. But everywhere he went, when he went to this Decapolis area, it was a Greek-speaking area. These cities, actually, probably founded in about 200 BC, I think, if I remember my research. They were Greek cities. They were Gentile cities. By the way, he's still kind of staying outside of Israel. He's staying outside of this Jewish area right now. Herod, remember, was kind of thinking, who is this Jesus? Who is he? Is he John the Baptist raised from the dead? And so when he came back out of Tyre and Sidon and came down here, and then, the unwashing hands and everything. Then he came in this area. He was like in the mountainous area of Galilee, the lake of Gennesaret or Tiberias. And so then he must have gone through this area, Decapolis, and somewhere in there, he was healing a lot of people. One of them was actually mentioned, one particular story, which is in the book of Mark. I think it's in Mark 8, but we'll get to that later. Mark 7, Mark 8. We'll get to that when we get to Mark, but he was just healing masses of people. They seemed to, at this point, receive him better. If you remember the one time when he delivered the 2 demons, they were like, oh, they were scared. They couldn't believe it. And he said, can you leave our area? He must have returned. It was, maybe he went to a less, like not quite where they were. And those people, but I don't know. People's attitudes change. And so this is where he went. And here are the cities, by the way. And there's kind of different lists, so it's not determined exactly which 10 were the 10 cities. There's a guy named Pliny, which is a Roman author, which mentions these. He actually adds this city at the end of his list, Damascus, here, which is kind of outside its area, but he mentions it. Maybe that was counted as one of the 10 cities. Kanatha, Dion, Raphana, Hippos, Gadara, and then Scythopolis, which is, by the way, on the east side of the Jordan. All the others are on the west side of the Jordan River here. Then we have Pella, and then we have Gerasa, and then also Philadelphia, which is way down here. And by the way, this area is called Perea. This is Decapolis, and this is Galanitis. So these are the big areas of regions. And Jesus went down there, and for a time, he's so smart. Well, he was led by the Spirit of God. He is smart, and the Spirit of God just led him to stay away from it. It's kind of hot right now, and Pharisees are not happy with him. So this is a next story of when he, for the 5th time in the row, healed mass people. And I love how it puts it. Let me read it. It says here, and Jesus departed from there, and he talked to the woman and all. He delivered her, and then it said, her daughter. It says, and he came near to the Sea of Galilee, which I mentioned before, and went up into a mountain. I said that, and sat down there. Now this time he sat down, and then multitudes, they heard about him, and they came up to him. Came unto him, having those that were lame. Now, I think as we read more in the Gospels, he went a little bit deeper into the Decapolis, not just by the sea, but he came in that area, and great multitudes came into him, having with them those that were, now listen to this list, lame, they were crippled, they couldn't walk. Imagine just someone coming who couldn't walk, and now he left Jesus, now he could walk home by himself. Blind, that's huge. Blind people being healed. Oh, dumb, couldn't speak. Maimed, now that's remarkable. I think maimed is having, like you don't have a hand or something. A maimed is a person and he was made whole, like the hand appeared, like gradually or pretty quickly, I think. He was maimed, or a person is like another crippled type person. And many others, it says not some, not a few, not some, many others. So he healed all these people and cast them down at Jesus' feet. So they brought them to Jesus' feet and he healed them. There's not one place in the whole New Testament where anyone that came to Jesus was turned away from healing. Not one time did he refuse them. That is the heart of Jesus Christ. Now, I want you to take this in. Let it seep down into you. Like really feel that. Like not one person was turned away. Not one person was rejected from healing. That is the heart of God. He only did what his Father told him to do, when he did the will of the Father. And so that was the will of God, to heal. Insomuch that the multitude wondered, or like amazed. That's what I'm trying to say. Get amazed at this. Don't just say, oh, that's interesting, or like, wow, okay, let's go on. No! Sit back and think about this. Like they were marveling at it. They were wondering at it. They were like, they were, wow, whoa, ah, ooh. Really amazing stuff. When they saw the dumb speak. They saw people who couldn't talk. I can talk now. The maimed to be made whole, the lame to walk, and the blind to see. And then it says, and they glorified the God of Israel. That could be a hint to the readers that it isn't Jewish people that he's doing here. He's really among the Gentiles. He didn't really visit the Gentiles much, because his first mission when he was on earth was directed towards the Jewish people, Israel. It was only right because, God wanted them to come back to him. That was his people. And so, well, he started with them and he went outside of them, and started doing it. But even in this time, he took his busy schedule, went over there, and they glorified the God of Israel, that God. A lot of people had different gods in those days, still do today. But they glorified the God of, the land over here next door, Israel. This is where he is, as you remember. He was over healing people that were bringing him from Decapolis up to Jesus, and then they were glorifying the God of Israel, and they were probably pagan cities there. They didn't really believe in God, Yahweh. They didn't know him, and now they begin to know God of Israel. And I bet a lot of them got saved. They said, "Who is this God of Israel?" Because this guy's a Jewish guy, this healer that's literally healed my children. And yeah, I know he healed children, he healed teenagers, he healed adults, he healed senior citizens, probably had infants that couldn't see, and they brought little babies. I'm getting emotional if you think about it, like all the people that Jesus is healing. This is so wonderful, full of wonder, remarkable. Oh, fall in love with Jesus. Behold the man. Take a look at this Savior, this Redeemer, this healer, this friend of humans, a friend of sinners. And he heals all that came to him. I personally believe, based on that I think there should be far more healings going on in the churches. And I just think we need to get into prayer more and seek the Lord and draw close to God, and we'll see all sorts of things happen far more. Well, there it is. That's such a sweet passage, another sweet one. 5 different times, chapter 3, chapter 4, I'm not sure, I can remember all of them right off bat. Anyway, there's all those chapters. As a matter of fact, here, I do have it written down as chapter 4, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 14 and 15. 4, 8, 9, 14, and 15. He just healed all these people. And this is 15. That's 2 verses, which are loaded. I love just 2 little verses are loaded. And if it be told, if you wrote a testimony of each one of the stories, you'd have mass books, a report about each one. How they heard about him, how they got to him, how people brought him. They put him right at Jesus' feet. And through compassion, the compassions of God and Jesus Christ healed him. Don't you love him? I do.